What is leadership? According to Nordhaus, leadership is the ability to influence others to achieve a goal. An examination of the Book of Exodus reveals that the behavioral leadership theory best supports the proposed definition of leadership by comparing Pharaoh and Moses. Leadership is a term that encompasses traits and skills used to apply influence in a process that directs a group toward a common goal. Researchers studying the behavioral approach determined that leadership is composed of two general kinds of behavior: task behavior and relationship behavior. Task-oriented leaders are doers who facilitate goal accomplishment, while relationship-oriented leaders are less goal-directed and more interested in connecting with others. Another way to describe leaders is by considering their personalities, styles, and the type of power they have. In 1990, Goldberg regarded basic factors of personality, commonly called the Big Five, that help to describe a leader by their character. The first things to examine within Exodus are the leaders and groups that they led. The first group is the Egyptians, who were led by Pharaoh. Pharaoh could be considered hostile, therefore he would fall under the category of neuroticism. Pharaoh habitually hardened his heart, sinned against God, and went further by making life harder for the overworked Hebrews instead of granting their freedom. Pharaoh's power was assigned to him at birth as the firstborn son and portrays legitimate power through his title of Pharaoh. For instance, he exemplifies coercive power and reward power in Exodus. The second group is the Hebrews, who Moses leads. Moses is a model for at least two of the Big Five personality traits. First, he exemplifies openness and agreeableness. Secondly, he is habitually obedient in service to God. Furthermore, Moses exhibits multiple types of power, such as personal power or emergent power, that best describes Moses because his leadership authority developed over time. However, God assigned authority to Moses, who exemplifies reverent power, information power, and expert power all over time. Next, it is essential to examine the goals of each group. The unifying factor a common goal provides is what fuels group interaction. For example, Pharaoh's and the Egyptians' goal was to minimize the threat of the growing Hebrew population and build a great city with extravagant structures such as the pyramids. Alternatively, Moses and the Hebrews' goal was to be obedient in service to God and achieve freedom for the Hebrew slaves. Other angles to examine are the task behaviors and relationship behaviors of both Pharaoh and Moses. Task behaviors help group members achieve goals by initiating structure and showing concern for results. In contrast, relationship behaviors help group members feel comfortable with themselves, each other, and the situation. One of the best-known models of managerial behavior is the managerial grid, or leadership grid, which was designed to explain how leaders reach their purposes through concern for production and concern for people. Primarily, Pharaoh exhibits authority compliance management. Pharaoh and the Egyptians want to minimize threats and build a great city. The Egyptians, as a group, made life bitter for the Hebrews in bondage. However, Pharaoh only cared about meeting construction quotas. Even the Pharaoh's guards questioned this behavior. Moses most exhibits team management. For example, the great plagues of Egypt were interlinked with notable tasks performed by Moses to facilitate freeing the Hebrews. Moses exemplified team management during preparation for the first Passover. Finally, a review of emotional intelligence and how leadership is evident in local churches today will further support the leadership definition. Nordhaus defines emotional intelligence as the ability to perceive and manage emotions in oneself and others. Nordhaus theorizes that people who are more able to manage emotions will be more effective leaders. Another example of emotional intelligence is illustrated within Exodus when considering how Egyptian culture impacted the tasks Pharaoh set before the Egyptian taskmasters, as well as the tasks Aaron was charged with to help Moses. Daniel Goleman builds the case that the most effective leaders are emotionally intelligent. One example of emotional intelligence found within the local church took place on November 7th, 2021. A Tennessee pastor used his ability to perceive and manage an emotional situation when he effectively protected his congregation by tackling a gunman during Sunday service. Thus, he demonstrated that emotional intelligence makes a significant difference in leadership. Leadership is a term that encompasses traits and skills used to apply influence in a process that directs a group toward a common goal. After examining Exodus to help define what leadership is and exploring how it is evident in the church, there is no denying its importance in society today. While the leadership qualities of Pharaoh and Moses are opposite, they both teach valuable lessons that help define the process of leadership and that can be used to improve leadership today.